The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Let's knock them on their backs, butt them in the mouth, knock their ass in the dirt. That's what we got to do.
He'll fire to the right side. Oh, my damn. Stay up. Oh, my God. 30. No tag.
Wilson, quick throw. And it's intercepted. Intercepted to Malcolm Butler. Butler has it at the one. Malcolm Butler.
9 seconds left. Eagles by 8. Brady, he is throwing it deep for the end zone, and it is incomplete. And the game is over. The game is over. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Let the celebration begin.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
They are incompetent. The absolute worst.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are going to move along now to the National Football Conference, home of the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, we'll start right out at the top here with the New York Football Giants. Their over-under is 7.
Under. This team sucks.
You don't like the pickup of Saquon Barkley?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
This seems...
7's interesting. That's an interesting number, actually.
This
7?
team still thinks...
Yeah.
This team still thinks that Eli Manning is their guy.
Yeah, he's the big question mark, really, isn't he, with this team?
I'm not hating on Eli Manning. I'm just saying he's kind of getting up there in age. And
Well, real quick,
Yeah.
with Eli Manning, I think we've had this conversation before. Is he good?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's good.
I mean,
he's got 2 Super Bowls.
I understand that. Well, there's other guys that have 2 Super Bowls too. Maybe.
I mean, that is true. Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think anybody can back up into 1 Super Bowl.
I shouldn't say is he good. I should say is he as good as he's portrayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Peyton Manning. I mean, Eli Manning interceptions are kind of a thing. Not as much as a Tony Romo interception, but still.
No, there will never be anything as poetic as a Tony Romo interception.
Oh, those 3 years were great.
They were as beautiful as they were predictable. Oh my God. But what a great announcer he turned out to be, man. Talk about a guy that just...
I've had a complete 180 on Tony Romo. I love him now that he's in the booth.
He's great. At first, I thought he was a little too enthusiastic, but I'm really into him now. But anyway, so Giants at 7. I'm going under on that, too. They were pretty bad last year, if I remember.
Remember the clusterfuck of their coach last year? The coach tried to have a power play by ruining
right. They're,
Eli Manning's consecutive start streak, and they benched him for no good reason, and then they fired the coach and brought Eli Manning back, making the whole thing pointless.
Here's my big concern, too, with the Giants is they brought in Pat Shurmur as their head coach. I mean, he might be a good coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach, and I don't know that this is an upward move by the Giants. Granted, getting rid of Ben McAdoo was smart because that guy was clearly an idiot. But Pat Shurmur? Come on.
I mean, this is a picture of Pat Shurmur. He clearly doesn't have good fashion sense. I don't know what the hell
Wow, did the Browns even actually make that shirt, or did he have that custom done by himself?
I don't know.
It's like, I'm going to get a Browns T-shirt and get magic marker and draw around the seams. That's what it looks like. Anyway, I got these guys going under 7 wins. I just don't think they're going to be horrible, god-awful bad, but I don't think they're going to be that good either. But I am curious to see Barkley play. I
mean, McAdoo was an idiot. Yeah. I mean, he tried to pump the team up with a story about an old lion who was fucking in the zoo. I don't know what his thought process was. And so,
if you can't get fired up with zoo animal sex stories, I don't know what to tell you.
But okay, it's a case where I don't think that they're a completely, entirely hopeless team. But I think that the way that I think McAdoo was one of those idiots who it's not an extinction level event, but it's a season or 2 cratering that's going to take a while to recover from. I could see they might start turning it around next year, but I think this year is going to strictly be a rebuilding. That's the new regimes come in, they're going to say, okay, let's see what we've got. Let's use the season to evaluate where we're at, and then we'll build from there. So I don't think they're going to make much noise. 4 to 6 wins, I think.
Giants over. They're the second best team in this division.
Really?
I think if Saquon Barkley works, that gives them a running game that makes Eli Manning better. It opens things up for him to get the ball to guys like Beckham Jr. Barkley looks like to be the real deal.
Yes,
and I think he's a guy that could actually make a difference for the Giants. Because looking at their schedule, it's kind of middle of the road. It's not too bad. It's not too hard. And I think the Cowboys are on the way down.
And again, too, you've got to take into consideration the division the Giants are in, which is not a good division.
The Cowboys are on the way down, and then, it's however much mileage you want to give Alex Smith with the Redskins.
Again, a downgrade at quarterback for the Redskins. You can't tell me that you're better off with Smith over Kirk Cousins.
Look, guys, you guys can tell me that the NFC East is a bad division, but they're the ones I hear the most about. I hear about them a lot. They have to be good, right?
Right. They must be the greatest division of all time, based on what we hear about them. You've got the Patriots in the NFC East. That is the NFL, period. The rest of it is just stuff. The rest of it is
the rest of it is just...
It's just the Washington Generals that are all there to play these 5 teams.
The rest is just stuff.
Somebody has to play these 5 teams, and that's what the rest of the NFL is there for.
Okay.
Well, you think they're going to be pretty good, though, Zach?
I think it's over 7. I think they're 8, 9, flirting around a playoff spot.
I could see it, I guess, if a few things go the right way. I only saw Barkley play for a little bit, but his first touch against the Browns in the preseason went for 39 yards. And it wasn't because it was a blown defense. I mean, that dude could just flat out play.
I just get really, really iffy about anything that happens in preseason because, again, the 2 0-16 teams, the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns, the 08 Lions and the 16 Browns, both went undefeated in preseason. So
and
it's
I think you can treat that with team records and who wins or loses.
But you can see players, though. You can tell if a guy can play or not, I think, in the preseason.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Because he could have a 70-yard run against the first stringers from another team, but the Giants could still lose the preseason game 21-7 or whatever.
I would not have drafted Barkley as high as the Giants did. Would he go number 2?
Right, but the Giants clearly drafted him because they think that they're still in it. And
right.
I think if he's as good enough to even out because the Giants' other problem over the last year or two was that they couldn't run the ball. So then you had to put everything in Eli's hands,
right?
And then the whole thing kind of comes apart. Football is so much a game about balance and try to just make the machine work. So you kind of tweak a little bit, some parts here or there, and all of a sudden it's like unplugging the Wi-Fi and plugging it back in again, right? It could just start working all of a sudden for no reason other than just you waited a second, and now it's fine.
What about their defense? How was their defense last year? I don't remember it being very good.
I don't think it needs to be.
Okay. Again, this is division. You've got 6 games in this division, right. And they could win all 6 of them. I mean, to be completely honest about it.
I don't know if they're going to beat the Eagles, but
I forgot about the Eagles. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Again, I
have to lean more towards Mike. I think that I'm looking at under
Trent Richardson as far as highly drafted running backs go.
Yeah, it's risky, but we'll see. One thing we know for sure, they'll look good doing whatever they do because they've got great uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not saying they're going to be bad in perpetuity, but again, I think we got a case where last season was just such a dumpster fire that it's probably a let's see what we've got year. Not to say that they're intentionally going to go out and not give it their all. Obviously, they will. These are all professionals, but I think it's going to be very much a case of everyone from the new personnel picked up to the new coaching staff to new management is just kind of going to be not treading water, but it's going to be a feeling out year.
See, I could be convinced either way. I think that you could convince me that they could go the direction Zach says they're going to go in and be a playoff team. I could also be convinced that they could win 5 games. It really is going to come down to what Eli can do. And if the defense can play, because I think they've got, with Odell Beckham Jr., you've always got a playmaker. If Barkley turns out to be like the next Ezekiel Elliott or somebody along those lines, it changes the whole dynamic, and then they could be very, very good. So I'm still going to go with the under on the 7, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they went the direction Zach has them going either. The Philadelphia Eagles, defending world champions. 10.5 for their win total.
Over.
Yeah, I guess for 11 it would have to be over. I'm going to go over too.
So this is the Eagles?
Yeah. What do we know? Carson Wentz is still not back to full health, right?
No, he's coming back.
Oh, is he? Is he okay?
Pretty sure. I mean, even so, it's Nick Foles showed he can make this team work too. So
yeah, but can he? The question is though, can he do it if he has to for a full season? That's the big thing.
Well, not for a full season, but Wentz coming back one way or the other.
If Wentz is healthy, I like this team a lot. I mean, they kind of snuck up on us last year. I don't think anybody thought they were going to be quite as good as they were last year. So they might not have even peaked yet as far as that goes. And
for a Super Bowl champion, their schedule's not terrible.
Yeah,
honestly, they get the NFC South, which again mileage varies. You get the Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Rams.
I like them to go over 10.5, but only because I see them winning 11 games. But they can be. Man, they were a lot of fun to watch last year too. I thought just a fun team to watch. They had the defense again. That you can have a game like the Super Bowl where you say the defenses didn't play well because they gave up a lot of points. But I think it was just better, more a case of that both offenses were executing very well, and the defenses are better probably than people gave them credit for in that game. But I'm going to take the Eagles as an over, but barely at 11. Mike.
I think over. I don't think Nick Foles is a long-term replacement. And I think if they try to go that route, it's going to end poorly.
Well, now Wentz is healthy, but if he goes down again, you've got Foles again.
I do think Wentz will. I do think Wentz will do just fine. If he's back for the majority of the season, then this team shouldn't have any problems hitting 11 or 12 wins.
Yeah, I think that I would love to see them go a full season with Carson Wentz because I think that kid's a really good quarterback. Everybody's favorite, the Dallas Cowboys, over under 8.5.
Under.
I don't know. I think under. I think 7 to 8 is about right. I don't know.
I'm going over on this one. I think the Cowboys might be. What's their schedule look like, Zach?
Let me pull it up for you.
That's the big question.
I just think. I think people have figured out Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's true. They kind of did.
I think people have stuffed Ezekiel Elliott. Des Bryant's not there anymore.
That's a head scratcher too. I mean, was it a money thing, or why is he gone?
Well, why is no one else signed Des Bryant at this point?
I don't know. What I hope someone does because I drafted him for my fantasy team last night.
That was a bad decision, Greg.
Always my last pick. I figured, you know what, I can find somebody at the scrap heap. I didn't. It wasn't like he's like a third rounder on him or anything.
So the Giants, the Cowboys, excuse me, at Panthers, at Seahawks, Lions at home, at the Texans, home against the Jaguars, home against the Titans.
Yeah, you know what? I'm switching that. I'm going to an under on that. I'm sorry. I don't see that. That's a tough schedule, and you're right. They have kind of gotten Prescott's number. Elliott's going to be in his third season now, so he'll have a few miles on him. Yeah, I'm going under. I don't think barely under. I think they'll still win 7, maybe 8, but I don't know that I could see them going much better than that. So I'm going to change my pick to under with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, 7 to 8 sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I'd go with too.
I just think that they have missed their window too.
Yeah,
they misplayed their hand.
Yep,
and
that's a very good piece of analysis that they misplayed their hand. I agree completely.
Yeah, no, they had the opportunity and they just didn't manage it properly, and now they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be okay, but they're not gonna be at the level that Cowboys fans probably think they should be. And I don't know how much longer Jason Garrett gets to hold on there either.
Oh, geez. So speaking of coaches that you go, what in the hell?
He's going to be there forever because he does a very good job at being a puppet for Jerry Jones.
What do they call him on the Bill Simmons podcast? The clapper? Because he claps all the time?
He is – Jerry Jones wants a puppet at head coach. That's what he wants. And Jason Garrett is more than happy to play that role. So, I honestly think this might be another Marvin Lewis situation in the making where, like, in 8 years, everyone's still going, what the hell? Why is Jason Garrett still
I would not be a bit surprised if that's exactly what happens.
Because, look, Jerry Jones doesn't give a shit. He just wants someone who will nod and say, yes, sir, and do what Jerry Jones tells him to do.
Yep. Moving along, the Washington Redskins with our favorite owner in all of professional sports, Mr. Daniel Snyder.
God.
Over, under, and total wins 7.
Under. Look.
I think this team's got potential to, like, really crater this year. I don't like the Alex Smith move at all.
I have a soft spot for Alex Smith because I thought he got a really raw deal in San Francisco.
I agree with you there, but that doesn't make him a good quarterback.
No, it doesn't. And is he? And like at the end of the day, the question is he better than Kirk Cousins? And he's not.
No,
I don't think he's better, but I don't think he's worse. Like that's why the Alex Smith move is so strange because they kept putting Kirk Cousins on franchise tags, right, and paying him much more than they needed to. And then eventually they just said, yeah, we're not going to sign you long term. Instead, we're going to sign the same guy as you for like. We're
going to get the low rent version of you, basically.
But it wasn't even low rent. Like they paid a lot of money to get Alex Smith, so it was so strange.
Was it just
they just commit to Kirk Cousins? I don't get it.
Was it just a matter of principle where it's like, no,
I think we're not
giving it to you?
I think if you took Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith, that there's one big difference between the two of them. It's consistency. Because and Zach, we talked about it on the old football show where Kirk Cousins would have weeks where you'd go, my God, this guy can really play. And then another week where he'd throw 5 interceptions. Smith you're not going to get many, my God, this guy can really play weeks, but you're also not going to get very many 5 interception weeks. He's more consistent, not as good. And maybe the Redskins just saw that as like, okay, we'd rather have a consistent guy than one that can put 48 on the board one week and have a big hand in us giving up 48 the following week. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because of the two, I think Kirk Cousins is easily the more talented of the two quarterbacks.
So, what was the over-under?
7. I got them under. I think it's under.
They were 7-9 last year.
Yeah, I think it's under.
So are they better than they were a year ago?
No.
I don't want to put them that low though. I mean, I think at best they push. They get 7 on the dot.
Yeah, that could be. I'm going under. You said under 2, right, Mike?
Yeah.
They could crater bad. I don't know if they will, but I can see them hitting 7 too, though. But I don't think it's going to get any better than that. I mean, that's the best they can hope for.
I just don't think it's a team I have zero expectations for.
Yeah, right.
Like, if they finish 8-8, 7-9, oh, okay.
Yeah.
If they finish 4-12, okay.
Let's go to the NFC North, home of my Green Bay Packers.
The Norris.
Over under for my pack, 10 this year.
This is a division between two teams, and the other two suck.
Okay.
Packers at 10, huh?
I like that right on the dot. 10 wins.
Yeah.
I think, that sounds about right. The Packers are going to continue to tread water.
Yep.
I don't know why this team refuses to do what's absolutely needed.
Fire Mike McCarthy?
Yeah. No, why is Mike McCarthy still there? Like, I get that the team has never actually been a dumpster fire under him. Like, there's never been like a bad year. But at the same time, anyone who's even casually familiar with football knows that this guy, like, the team was underachieved under his tenure.
I mean, doesn't it feel like Aaron Rodgers should have more than one Super Bowl victory?
He should have at least another one.
Yeah, at least one more. And they, again, this season didn't really address the most pressing issue they have, which is toughening up that defense. I know they went out and they are loaded top to bottom with secondary players, and that's their biggest issue. Rodgers is going to be fine. Jordy Nelson's gone, which surprised me a little bit, but they've still got Cobb and Adams, and Montgomery's a pretty good player. But, 10 wins. I think they're going to be, like you said, Mike, you're going to tread water. This is the same Packers team we've watched for the last 5 years.
I'm going to go over.
Over, okay.
Over.
I like it.
Here's the schedule. Bears, Vikings.
The Bears.
Both at Lambeau. They're at the Redskins, winnable. Home against the Bills, at the Lions, home against the 49ers, at the Rams, at the Patriots. That's a tough back-to-back stretch, but that's right out of the bye week. Home against the Dolphins in November, at the Seahawks, at the Vikings. Home against the Dome Cardinals in December. Home against the Dome Falcons in December. At the Bears, at the Jets. Home against the Dome Lions on December 30th. That's 11 wins. I think between the division games, and then you add in the Redskins and the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets, add in the Falcons and the Cardinals, they'll get to 11, maybe even 12.
I hope you're right. The defense concerns me, and that's my biggest issue with the team is the defense. I mean, the offense, we know they're going to put points on the board, and if Rodgers stays healthy,
RELAX, Greg.
That's right. Speaking of the big rivalry in the division, the Minnesota Vikings, the other good team in this division, same over under 10.
You mean it's not going to be the Bears who are right there with them? Come on.
We'll talk about the Bears in a minute. I have some thoughts on the Bears.
So the Vikings, is Kirk Cousins better than Case Keenum? Probably.
Yes. Probably, yes.
And they did the same thing last year, right? Where they had 10 wins.
Yeah.
Or no, they were 13-3 last year.
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah.
They were substantially good. And the running game helped, and the defense helped.
They had that defense as a son of a bitch, man. It's good, and they've got some a trio of wide receivers that are really underrated.
Yeah.
And with Kirk Cousins and who's the running back? Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Dalvin Cook.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm going over on the 10 wins for the Vikings. I think that's a really good football team.
Yeah. This is it's a good football team. They took a step up in quarterback. I mean, do I think Kirk Cousins will have the career year that Casey Keenum had last year? No, but I think in terms of long-term sustainability and consistency over those years, you can probably not. Kirk Cousins is the better choice. I think, and all else being equal, yeah, why not? I honestly have nothing bad to say about them. I think that they're probably going to be better than the Packers. It's their division to lose.
Yeah, I think that it's between them and the Packers for sure. And in order for the Packers to, they've got to beat the Vikings at least once to win this division. And to give me any kind of confidence whatsoever going into the playoffs, they have to beat the Vikings at least once, somewhere along the way.
So here's my one thing that'll throw a wrench into this. After 5 weeks, they could be 1-4.
The Vikes?
They open with the Niners at home.
Okay.
They're at the Packers.
Oh.
Home against the Bills. At the Rams on a Thursday. At the Eagles.
That's brutal.
That's a tough 5-game stretch.
That is tough.
Because you get, the easy one's the Bills, but then you have to fly cross country on a short week at the Rams.
Yeah. That's tough.
You're in Buffalo on a Sunday afternoon, and then you're in L.A. on a Thursday.
Well, and the problem with that Buffalo game, too, is when you're playing all these other good teams around it, that's got trip-up game written all over it,
They're coming off the Packer game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that can make things interesting.
Not to mention they have the Saints on a Sunday night in October. Again, an indoor game. They're at the Patriots in December. 10 on the dot is probably where I'd put them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna
9 or 10.
I'm reeling back my expectations a little bit after hearing that. I'm gonna put them back down to 10 or right with you, 10 or 9.
Because but here maybe they open up and they do beat the Niners, and that'd be great for them. But the Niners are gonna be a tough test. Then you go to Green Bay the week after that, and then, again the short week with the Rams at the Eagles. All the flashbacks of a year ago against the Eagles. They have a really hard schedule, and after a big kind of out of nowhere season like that 13-3 is, you got to assume they pull back a little bit. Yeah. So I wouldn't put them over 10. I think 10 would be the ceiling. I'm gonna go with you on that. Like I said, I'm gonna reel in my expectations a little bit and drop it back down to 10, maybe 9. Our former partner's favorite team, the Chicago Bears.
Come on, guys.
6.5.
6.5?
Yeah.
Under.
Mike?
Come on.
No, this is a bad football team.
6.5? How is that real?
This is a bad football team. They're not going to be bad for very long. They've got some promising pieces that maybe that maybe they're able to bring it together in a few years, but no, not right now. Under. I'd say this is a 5. This is a 4 to 6 win team.
Zach's starting to change his mind a little bit.
No, the ceiling's 5. Because I'm looking at it. So here's the teams they can beat on the. Well, I guess it depends on the Cardinals. But you have the Packers. That's a loss, right?
Should be.
Patriots.
Should be.
Dolphins.
They can beat the Dolphins.
At Miami?
Yes, at Miami.
The Lions.
Jay Cutler Bowl.
The what bowl, Mike?
The Jay Cutler Bowl.
Let me go through
Dolphins.
Let me go through it chronologically. Packers on the road. Seahawks at home.
I think they can take the Seahawks too. We'll get to the Seahawks, but I'm not real up on them this year.
No.
Cardinals on the road, Buccaneers at home, at the Dolphins, home against the Patriots, home against the Jets, at the Bills, home against the Lions, home against the Vikings, at the Lions, at the Giants, Rams, Packers, 49ers, Vikings. It's a tough stretch to end the year, but they could get to 5 or 6 maybe.
All right, it's my turn to have the ridiculous hot take. I think the Chicago Bears are a team to watch in the league this year. I'm going over on that 6.5 wins. I think this team will be fighting it out for a wild card spot.
Oh, really?
I am high on the Bears this year. Yep.
So the question is, when they're fighting it out for a wild card spot, at what point does Aaron Rodgers throw the touchdown for the Packers that knock them out of that contention?
At whatever point it rips Andy's heart out the worst is when it will happen.
And then you can post that picture of yourself and all your Packers gear.
Look, I love Andy, but man, oh man, that poor bastard! I tell you, it's just.
Yeah, week 15 they host the Packers. There you go.
I do think they can get to, like I said, I think they can contend for a wild card spot. I think they're going to surprise some people, and they would be one of my out of nowhere teams in the NFC this year, are the Bears. I don't think they're going to do much past that, but I'm putting them over at 6.5? I've got them over on that.
Yeah, they're under 6.5, but they're right there. They can get to 5 or 6, I think.
And finally, the Detroit Lions, a surprising 7.5 over under.
New coach, Matt Patricia.
Right.
From the Patriots.
Yeah, but again, and we've talked about it before, this Belichick coaching tree, not all it's cracked up to be.
Nope. No, the only guy of note is Nick Saban, and he's not in the pros.
Matt Stafford and
how much
7.5.
I think that number depends on how much you want to put into the Bears stock.
I'm putting a lot into the Bears stock. I'm going under with the Lions. I think that Matt Stafford's got another season of mileage on him. This article says he's underrated. I think he might be a tad overrated. I think he's good, but I don't think he's quite what everybody thinks he is. And I can't think of another player on that team that plays offense that I would consider a serious threat. I mean, what do they got for a running back, you know?
And God, they have a hard schedule.
Well, and I mean, you know, name me, like, who's their top receiver? Calvin Johnson's been gone a few years now, so what's left?
Yeah.
You know, Golden Tate, is he even still there? Or is he with San Francisco? I'm not even sure.
At the 49ers, host the Patriots, at the Cowboys, host the Packers.
Yeah.
At the they host the Panthers, they host the Rams, Vikings, Packers again.
I don't see this team winning more than 7 games. I just don't see how they do it.
No, I like Matt Stafford a lot. I think he's better than you give him credit for. He's one of those guys that, like, God, if he was on any other team, That's true. He would be like really held up as like the quarterback of his generation, but he's just on a crap team. Like,
for an example, like when Buffalo had those teams that were pretty good, but they had no quarterback even before Tyrod Taylor. Put Matt Stafford with some of those Buffalo teams or some of those Miami teams that were decent, you know.
Put Matt Stafford on Jacksonville.
Oh my God.
That is a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, if Matt Stafford's their quarterback last year, then Philadelphia's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah, you know, another example of a team wasting a really good talent. What have they made the playoffs? What, twice since he's been there? Maybe 3 times at the most?
I'm gonna say under because
me too.
Yeah.
In this current stretch of Lions football, you get a pattern where they have a really good year, make the playoffs, and then they go downward. And we're just at the part of that where they're going to go downward. I think they surprised a lot of people last year, and I think that means that a lot of people, as a result, are going to be gunning for them this year. People, they won't be able to surprise anyone like they did last year.
I think if the Lions are better, it is because Matt Patricia becomes the first Belichick assistant to do something with himself. Otherwise, I think Matt Patricia's not going to be a good coach.
No, I don't.
The thing is, like, when you think of the Patriots defenses, when Romeo Crennel got a head coaching job, you thought, well, yeah, the Patriots defenses have been really good. That makes sense. The Patriots defenses haven't actually been that great recently.
I mean, they've been good enough, but they haven't been to the point where you go, man, I want the guy coordinating that defense because it's so good. I want him to coach my team. I've not seen that with Matt Patricia. No.
He's a guy that they hired because he's this mad scientist sort of idea, and people want the greatness of Belichick to rub off on them at some point.
Yeah, but you know what makes the Bill Belichick coaching tree great? Bill Belichick is the reason why. He, once you turn these guys loose out from under his tutelage, they don't know what, I'm not going to say they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But
Bill Belichick seems like the secretive sort of guy who's not willing to part with many trade secrets.
No.
Like, I don't see Bill Belichick telling a protege like everything he needs to know. Like, so
no, he's Emperor Palpatine. Right?
Yeah.
The reason Palpatine got to power in Star Wars is because he had all the secrets and usurped the master. And then he always kept his hand over his apprentices. Mm-hmm. He would never allow his apprentices to become better than him.
Well, that's what I mean. That's
what this is.
Matt Patricia may have coordinated the Patriots defense for the past few years, but let's not kid ourselves. All the final say and everything that he did came with the okay of Belichick. It wasn't like this guy was out going rogue and doing what he wanted and Belichick let it happen. And I think that's where the mistake is made when hiring his assistants, is they think, well, look at what this guy's done under Belichick. What can he do for us? Well, you don't understand. He's doing what Belichick's basically telling him to do.
Matt Patricia is Darth Maul.
So he's going to become a crime lord soon? Is that what you're telling me?
So
he's going to win the what would that be, the USFL? Is that still a thing? The UFL, whatever that thing, the secondary football league.
No, it's gone now. Now we've got the Alliance of American Football, and
He'll be the XFL's first champion.
Anyway, so to wrap up the NFC North, so we've got the Lions at under 7.5 wins.
Yeah, I don't see.
So, real quick, who do we like to win the division, Packers or the Vikings?
Packers.
I'm gonna go Vikings. Like the Packers, they've underachieved, and that's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. That's the coaching staff's fault. And I kind of feel like Mike McCarthy is sort of getting into that groove now, where there are no consequences, and that's not a good place for a coach to be.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers to win the division. I think the Vikings will make the playoffs. The Bears will contend for a playoff spot, and the Lions, 7 wins maybe, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot more than that. Moving on to our favorite division in all of football, the ever unpredictable NFC South. Leading off, the New Orleans Saints with an over-under of 9.5.
They were pretty good last year.
I thought
go
so.
Over.
You know what? I think for every team other than the Buccaneers, I think whatever the over-under you say is, I might just say, sure. Why not? Sure, it could. Very well could.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the Saints.
9.5 for the Saints?
Yeah. What's their schedule look like?
They made the playoffs. They lost to the Vikings in that most incredible fashion.
Oh, right. That was that crazy, yeah.
So this is really weird. You probably say that the Panthers are their best competition in the division, right?
I'd say the Falcons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've only brought up the Panthers because they don't play the Panthers until week 15.
What are you playing like twice in a row?
15 and 17.
Okay.
Sandwiched in between a Steelers game.
That's a tough stretch if the Steelers are halfway decent.
But they open Buccaneers, Browns, at Falcons, at Giants, home Redskins, at Ravens. With a bye week.
See, I think they can win most of those games.
Yeah.
But then they have back-to-back at Vikings, home against Rams, at Bengals, home against Eagles, home against Falcons, at Cowboys, at Bucks, at Panthers, home Steelers, home Panthers.
Well, the thing about the Saints, too, I think that, was it last year or the year before where it happened, where all of a sudden they weren't invincible at the Dome anymore.
Right, yeah.
And that became a problem. I don't know. I like these guys going into the season. I'm going to put them at over that 9.5. I think they win this division. Because now they've got
Brees keeps chugging along, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then they've got what's his name, Kamara, the running back, who's really good.
Yeah.
And you throw that in there. If the defense can play decent, they're going to be very, very tough. So I like them going over. I think them, maybe 10, 11, maybe even 12 wins with this team this year. My only concern with them is that they don't wear stupid uniforms all season. Like they go with the basic black over gold and white over gold, and we'll be all right. But please, for love of God, no more of the mono black.
No, yoga pants are their life, Greg. That's what they're going to do.
I really don't. This team has rubbed me the wrong way since Bountygate, and then it turned out that they were prostituting their cheerleaders along with, the Redskins, and it's just, I don't like them.
Oh, Mike, you're letting morality get into the NFL here. We can't we do that, we just got to stop the show. You have to find a way to separate the two. And it's hard, I know, but
that's fair. I don't know. Look, they were really good last year, and the division's kind of underwhelming, and so I see no reason why they can't repeat. I think you're looking at the Falcons and the Saints as the two teams to beat in the division. So, I'll say they either push or over.
All right. Zach, what did you say you were going with?
I don't know.
Well, I'll make it very interesting for you guys, okay? The Falcons, Saints, and Bucks, or the Falcons, Saints, and Panthers, all 2 9s and a 9.5 for the over-unders. So you were right with the.
Yeah, see that makes sense.
Yeah,
I really think, as it always is, it's gonna be kind of a cluster. it all eventually sorts itself out. But like, the Falcons will be the Saints, and the Saints will be the Panthers, and the Panthers will be the Falcons, and they'll switch it up at home and a road, and it'll be this mix of stuff. So I think based purely on that, I'm going to go under, but not because I don't think they're good, but I just think circumstances are going to put them at 9.
Okay,
would be like the ceiling for them.
All right, I've got them over. Mike, you've got them right at 9.
I've got them either right at 9 or 10, at 9 or slightly above.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think that's why the over-unders are placed where they are. I think you could say that about all three of those teams. Could be 9, could be 10.
Yep.
And you could be wrong, you could be right. Like it could end up in any sort of combination at the end of the year, because these are all teams that have pretty good quarterbacks, have pretty decent offenses, but they can be inconsistent from week to week.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm talking myself into it now. I think the Saints of those teams probably are the most consistent, though. And I'll give you the over. I'll give you the over on the Saints.
I'll just say about between the Panthers, Falcons, and Saints, these are all three teams that can go out and one week look like Super Bowl contenders and the next week look like a team that couldn't win 2 games.
Yeah.
They're all capable of that, and that's why everybody's right at 9. Speaking of the Falcons, up next, Falcons at over-under of 9.
I think this is a really good team. Maybe nothing groundbreaking. Maybe I don't know. I think they're going to be over 9. I think this team wins the division.
I'm with you on the over, Mike, but I think they come in second to the Saints. I think you're going to see the Saints go like 11-5, and the Falcons will do like a 10-6, or they might even both go 11-5 and have a tiebreaker situation. But I think they are the two of the 3 teams that are good in this division. The Saints and the Falcons are a little bit better than the Panthers.
I'm going to say this. If this team has an underwhelming season, then it might be time to blow it up, because if they can't get it done, then it's proof positive that they're still hurting from that Super Bowl. And
did they make the playoffs last year? Yeah, they did, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they beat the Rams.
That's right. So they did manage to not completely implode after that disastrous Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Rams, and then they didn't get blown out by the Falcons or by the Eagles, right?
No. It was actually a case where
it was 15-12, I think, was the final.
They actually probably could have won that game.
Right. I guess. See, the thing with the Falcons is like with a guy like Matt Ryan and a receiver like Julio Jones and the other weapons they do have, like the Falcons shouldn't be underwhelming ever.
They're never going to be out of it, I think, due to that situation.
Right.
And their defense has been coming on for a couple of years, and I think we're going to finally see it come to full fruition this year. And
I'm going to go over on the over-under for them.
You know, the more I look at these guys, the more I'm wondering if I might maybe put them in front of these Saints a little bit here. I'm going to flip flop that. I'm going to go with the Falcons are going to win the division. Saints come in second, and they both go over their totals. But I'm going to have the Falcons more as the 11-12 win team, and I'm going to put the Saints down at 10 or 9. So, because I forgot about that defense. That defense has been coming on strong, and if it plays to potential this year, that's going to make the big difference for them. The Carolina Panthers again over under 9. I'm putting them right on the dot at 9.
I'm going to go slightly under. I think 7 or 8 is the ceiling for them.
I'm going to go under on the Panthers also. Cam Newton still rubs me the wrong way. I hate his attitude.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of...
Shouldn't he be better than he's been, too? I mean, he's shown flashes of absolute brilliance, but shouldn't he be more than what he's been so far, don't you think?
The Panthers, especially on offense with Cam, have just been so uneven, uneasy. Like, nothing's ever been set. Like, they've been kind of productive, but but you don't ever feel comfortable about where they're at. Right. And, they lost Kelvin Benjamin to Buffalo because he was a problem, and then he called out Cam Newton for being a bad quarterback in the offseason. I'm going to go under. I think they'll, 8, 9. They'll be right there.
Yeah, I'm not.
They're not an 11-win team again.
I'm not as confident in these guys as I am the other two teams in this division. With the Falcons and the Saints. I think the Panthers are capable. They're talented, but they're too all over the place. You never know what you're going to get with them. And finally, Mike's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this I find absurd. 6.5 is the over/under.
Oh, that's way too high.
6.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
This team,
they're going to come out of the gate being 0-4.
This team, okay, they gotta rely on the Fitz magic for the first 4 games because Jameis Winston groped an Uber driver, and so you got that drama surrounding it. And to be perfectly honest, like, I was ready to buy into the hype around this team last year, and I was looking forward to watching them on a weekly basis, and they underwhelmed so much. I remember watching, like, I'm almost kind of not even saying that Fitzgerald's going to be a bad fit because I thought they actually played better when they had him starting. Jameis Winston, I think, is at a point where we really need to start asking, is he ever going to live up to the hype we expect him to?
Yeah. Again, this is a team that needs to trade for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Boy,
how he already isn't a Buccaneer, I don't know. But yeah, if they get Teddy Bridgewater, maybe that changes things up a little bit, and that throws them kind of into that middle ground mix where they could maybe
would certainly be more competitive and more dangerous. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Without Teddy Bridgewater, under. With Teddy Bridgewater, over.
I'm going under.
I'll put him up to 7 or 8.
I mean, if by some miracle they get Teddy Bridgewater, then yeah, I'd say the same thing. But shooting short of that.
As currently constructed, though, under for sure.
Yeah. So we've got. I switched my pick. I'm going to go with the Falcons winning the division. Saints coming in second. They both make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saints winning and Falcons second.
The Panthers, I think, will compete for a playoff spot, but ultimately not get one. And the Buccaneers are going to be the Buccaneers. Mike?
I think, honestly, between the first two, I think the Panthers are going to be in third. The Buccaneers are going to be in last. Between the Saints and Falcons, it's almost a coin flip. But why not go? I'll just go for the Falcons. You got Matt Ryan, Julio Jones,
Devontae Freeman. You've got some other. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, I mean, you've got too much talent there. Like, they're going to make noise. Saints are a very good team, but it's, as I said, it's a coin flip. I'll go with the Falcons. Eking out one more win than the Saints.
And I'm just going to close out the NFC South. We really need those Falcons to go to the alternate uniforms full time. And boy, would they look good. All right.
Complete with the single, gold stripe that doesn't match anything else.
Exactly. Oh, I would love that. I would love that. And finally, out west to the home of Zach's Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
Over under win total 10.
Over.
Over. I think this is very much going to be a team that they're in contention for a Super Bowl.
I agree. I'm with you guys too with the over. I'm looking at least 12 with these guys.
Yep. I'm going to go down the schedule right now because I'm a confident son of a bitch. At Raiders, win. Cardinals, win. Chargers, win. Vikings, win. Seahawks, win. Broncos, win. 49ers, okay, that's a tough one at the Niners. I'll leave that in kind of a toss-up category for right now. At the home against the Packers, again, another tough one, really tough. Yeah. At the Saints, that'll be a shootout. Maybe throw that in there. But Seahawks win. Chiefs win. Lions win. That's already 10. Bears win.
What are they, like 10 and 11 and 1 right now?
Eagle. Well, no, I left out a couple games. Eagles, that'll be tough. Cardinals, then you get to 12 already. And 49ers to end up the season. Game could mean something, could not mean anything. Yeah, this is a 12-win team, easy. And they're going to compete for the number 1 seed in the conference. And they're gonna win the whole goddamn thing, man.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this season.
I'm with you. I think they go over. I don't know if I'm like ready to crown them champions yet or anything, but I think they're going to be very good.
They're going to be very good indeed.
My biggest concern for them is the team that we're about to talk about next.
Well, again, with the Rams, offense is galore, and now the defense has been loaded up to match it.
Right.
It's a complete team on both sides of the ball, and not to mention they've always been one of the better teams in the league at special teams.
And I just want to say
it's a complete team. It really, really is.
And I just want to say, going on about how their toughest competition is this team we're going to get to next, and we've talked about this before, kind of broadly, about how right it feels to have the Rams back in LA. How right does it feel that we're talking about the NFC West and going, this is between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers?
That's perfect.
It really just does feel right, doesn't it?
Yes. And, the Niners, and this is all because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Total wins, 8.5, over under.
8.5, huh?
I'm going to say over, it's amazing how his arrival just transformed that team.
Well, look what they did. They didn't lose a game the rest of the way.
Hold on. We're going to go back to the 49ers 2017 schedule. Let's break down the end of their season, can we?
Got a salty Rams fan here.
All right. So do you remember what game Jimmy Garoppolo played only the last 4, right?
It says here he went 5-0 last season as the 49ers ended on a high note.
5-0. Okay, so let's break down these 5, shall we?
Okay.
15-14 at the Bears.
All right.
1 point for the Bears.
That was his first game. We're gonna give him a pass on that.
And you can never sleep on the Bears, all right?
And the Bears are bad. Let's see. At the Texans, week 14, when they had nothing to play for and were injured.
Okay.
Good win for you, Jimmy Garoppolo. A 2-point win over your Titans at home in his home debut.
Well, you're just taking the fun right out of this, aren't you?
They beat the Jaguars when the Jaguars had things clinched up at that point. No reason for them to play for too much. And then they played at the Rams in week 17 when the Rams sat everyone. So congratulations on your undefeated record, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
I could be undefeated against middle school teams too.
Will you at least give me this? They're better than the Cardinals and the Seahawks?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if Garoppolo can play up to his potential, they're better. They're easily the second best team in this division.
Look.
They're probably going to be flirting around with the playoffs. But again, I think it's still going to be a big jump for them overall to go from until the end of the year when everything was lost and they threw Garoppolo in. They had 1 win. Right. This is still bare bones a bad team.
Yeah, I mean, if you really sit down and think about it, I mean, they were 1-10, and then you give us that 5-game win streak, which great. They finished 6-10, and that's a really
they finished strong.
A nice way to pull a bad season out of the fire, but they didn't exactly do it against the toughest competition.
Yes, yeah.
Look,
it's still something to win games in the league, and I'll give you that, but. It's still going to be a big jump for them to go from nothing. And I mean, and the Rams did it. Like it can all change really quickly. New coach, Shanahan was in there last year, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he came in after the Falcons lost the Super Bowl.
But in their defense, and in the 49ers' defense, before Jimmy Garoppolo got there, weren't they running out guys like Blaine Gabbert and people that
Yeah, they were. There was the I remember Blaine Gabbert was their starter at one point.
Yeah, because I think I had to play him against you in our fantasy because that was all I could get.
It was like Blaine Gabbert versus Casey Keenum. It was truly a battle of titans.
Yeah, clash of the titans there, huh?
So what's the over under?
8.5.
8.5. So I think if they go over, it's 9, and if they go under, it's 8. It's 8 or 9. They're right there.
I'm going to go over, and I'm going to say best case scenario they're looking at 10, and contending for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
But more likely than not,
that's about where I'd put them, between
right.
8 and 10 wins.
But I would say that, realistically, 8 or 9, which is still, considering where they're coming from, pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering that this team nuked itself not too long ago.
Right.
And again, just to run through their schedule this year, Vikings, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers, Cardinals, Packers, Rams, Cardinals, Raiders, Giants, bye week, Buccaneers, Seahawks, Broncos, Seahawks, Bears, and Rams. So the second half of their schedule, demonstrably easier. Bucks, Seahawks twice, Broncos again, Bears again. So even if they're kind of middling around, through the middle of the season, they can finish strong, down the stretch. And I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 wins just after their bye week at the very least. And then you play the Rams in the final game of the season, where the Rams could have nothing to play for, and you could get 6 wins in those final 6 weeks, right? So that's if they're 3-7 up until the bye week, there's still plenty of hope for them to get to 9-7 and flirt with the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're going to be solid. I don't think they're as good as the Rams, but I think they're definitely better than the other 2 teams in that division.
As I talk myself through it, I think the over is a little bit easier than I gave them credit for, because again, that second half of the schedule is pretty easy for them.
And now we get to our favorite team in all of football, with our favorite quarterback in all of football, the miracle worker himself, the one and only Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't know what I'm more excited for this NFL season: how good the Rams are going to be, or how bad the Seahawks are going to be.
Well, the over/under for wins is 8. I'm going to go with the under on that. I'm thinking that the Seahawks are probably going to get down into the 6-10, 7-9, maybe even 5-11.
What do they have on that team besides Russell Wilson at this point?
I don't know. I know that Richard Sherman's gone. I don't know about the rest of the Legion of Boom. They've got a couple of running backs that people are pretty high on. This kid, Chris Carson, and I forget the other one's name.
But they have no O-line.
No.
The rest of the defense has been gutted.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good. They're easily the last place team.
I think so.
I mean, it's really going to be between them and the Cardinals, and really with the Cardinals, it just depends on what they do quarterback-wise, I think.
I think if Rosen can play decent at quarterback, the Cardinals might surprise some people,
Is Rosen going to start? Do we know that?
I don't know, but he should. I mean, who else? You're really going to tell me that Sam Bradford's a better idea? Plus, you got David Johnson coming back,
Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald still playing.
Yeah. But they lost Bruce Arians. So it's going to be, I don't know. The Cardinals are interesting. I mean, they could, who knows? But the Seahawks, I've got them well under that 8. I think that 5 or 6 is more like it, probably. And if they fall all the way down to 2 or 3 wins, it wouldn't break my heart a bit. Any other thoughts on our Seahawks, other than the fact that Russell Wilson cures cancer with his touch? And
Russell Wilson is a schmuck.
Yeah,
he's a self-righteous douchebag, and I look forward to his collapse.
Oh, bless you for saying that.
He'll have plenty of time to visit children's hospitals this offseason.
Right, exactly. And finally, the Arizona Cardinals over under 5.5. I think a lot of that depends on if Rosen plays quarterback or not. Sam Bradford, I mean, are you kidding me? Like I said last week, you look at him wrong and one of his ACLs blows out. It's just, I don't understand it. Another team that really could use Teddy Bridgewater, if you ask me. Cardinals. But I think the 5.5 is, it all depends, but I'm going to put that right on the money. 6 wins, maybe 7.
Cardinals. What was it at? 6.5?
5.5.
5.5. I'm going to go over.
I am too, but just by a little bit.
I do like what they have, and I think there's still a lot of good parts to the rest of that team. It's all about the quarterback,
right? If Rosen can play good football, this team could be not very good, but they're going to be very solid. And it's just their schedule looks pretty rough. Just what I'm looking at here, and I don't even have it in front of me, but they've got the Rams and 49ers twice. We already know that. And then it says here they play the Vikings, Chiefs, Chargers, Packers, Falcons, all on the road.
Yeah.
That's tough. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a winning season, but I mean, the Cardinals' problem is that they didn't draft a Josh Rosen
sooner. Yep. If they did this 2 or 3 years ago, and who knows where they'd be right now.
Yeah, and again, the same way we talked about the Broncos, in the AFC, they knew Carson Palmer was going to die out at some point, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But they did this after Kurt Warner. They didn't have a plan ready to go. Then they went through that wilderness with Derek Anderson and Max Hall and John Skelton and all these just
Red Skelton,
all these scrap heap of dudes, and then they finally get Carson Palmer to get out of Cincinnati and be their next aged quarterback to lead them. Or no, he was with Oakland at the time, right?
Right.
And they have him for 3 years, and they still didn't draft anybody. Like in the time between they let go of Kurt Warner till now, Josh Rosen's like the guy that they got.
Well, and you would think
too. Not to mention the Kevin Cobb debacle that they had. Like they screwed up this quarterback position for the last decade.
And especially when you think about the coach they had at the time, which was Bruce Arians, you think he would know better.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's all going to depend on Rosen with these guys. If he plays pretty well, I think they can get to 6-7 wins. But short of that, it's going to be a tough division, except for the Seahawks. But wrapping it up, I think the Rams win the division. San Francisco probably comes in second, maybe chasing a wild card spot, and then the other two is the way I see it.
Yeah.
And that wraps up the NFC, guys. So we just got to pick our Super Bowl representative. I think, Zach, you've made your choice pretty clear already.
The Los Angeles Football Rams.
Mike?
Rams, as good as anyone else.
Well, I wouldn't be a good team owner if I didn't do this. I'm going to go with my Green Bay Packers to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year.
No, and look, the NFC playoffs are going to be a gauntlet for anybody that gets through.
Yep.
Between the Packers and the Vikings and the Eagles, whoever comes out of the South is going to be able to put up points. And then, the Rams and even the Niners, that's you compare that to what the AFC is going to throw out there.
Oh, jeez.
And it's not even close.
It's kind of like the difference between it's like the difference between the American League and the National League in baseball this year. It really is. It's the National or the American League has just got some really good teams. Then you get the National League with the Cubs, and and I mean the Braves are playing well, but it's a very similar thing. The AFC is garbage, and so basically my Super Bowl matchup then is going to be the Houston Texans versus the Green Bay Packers. That's who I've got. Zach, you've got Patriots, Rams, and Mike?
Rams and I don't know, either the Patriots or Ravens.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. The Basically a Sports Show NFL Preview Part 2, the NFC. We'll see how it all plays out. It all gets underway for real, next Sunday? No, Thursday night. What am I talking about? Thursday night. Thursday nights. We'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube, and find us on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.
Later.
It was fiercely fought, but frightfully flawed. Let's take that over again. An original Raider, Wayne Harkins.
I got that wrong that time.
Wayne Harkins. Shoot now. Come on, John. Wayne Harkins. I had it then. Wayne Harkins.
No.
Wayne Harkins.
You stupid.
The Chiefs responded to the Vikings score by returning to the tragedy. Oh, now. Middlebacker Don Dan. Oh, shoot. Not even the wizardry of Fred Belitnikoff, you bastard name there. Men like Eyeshide and Bueller. Bueller, you son of a bitch.
Boom, boom!